Our next guest says there's sufficient basis to fire Rosenstein. Joining us tonight is Congressman Matt Gaetz. He serves on a number of key committees, including Judiciary, Budget, Armed Services. Congressman, good to see you. And is Mark Meadows right? Do you think that there is sufficient basis to move against Rosenstein?
Well, as is usually the case, Mark Meadows is absolutely correct. And Lou, the reason this is so important is that we're after whatever documents formulated the initial basis to begin this fake investigation into President Trump and the alleged collusion with Russia that we have found absolutely no evidence of. So it is surprising that the FBI and Department of Justice have been so willing to thumb their nose at the Congress. And I think that Devin Nunes is right, that Bob Goodlatte's right, that Mark Meadows is right, that if we don't get what we need from these officials within our own government, they have to be shown that they are not above the law and they will be held accountable.
And holding them accountable is a tough thing. We're watching a special counsel right now who is going into apparently has decided to turn a special counsel investigation into a complete and utter farce, not simply a futile investigation, but now farce. Going after Stormy Fields, Playmates, and the video. I mean, that was apparently behind the Mueller-inspired raid on the president's personal attorney. This is ignorance beyond belief.
Well, and Lou, I think it's obvious to the American people that we are no longer investigating crimes or allegations of crimes. We are now just investigating people that some folks at the deep state don't like or think might be able to harm President Trump. But we really have got to restore the rule of law by focusing this investigation on whatever scintilla of truth it may be based on. And without the documents that provide the basis for the beginning of this investigation, we're unclear what direction it's heading at all. And I'm glad that President Trump is using the bully pulpit to defend himself. I think it's entirely appropriate for him to point out the hypocrisy at the Department of Justice, where they're going after his personal lawyer, for goodness sakes. Meanwhile, when it's Rod Rosenstein's conduct that's called into question, he hires one of his own employees to look after him. So that hypocrisy, I think, is not lost on the president, and it's fueling his frustration and anger.
His frustration, his anger, which he is controlling admirably. I am not nearly such a person. I lack the discipline and so many other good qualities that I wish were mine. But this is infuriating. Isn't it time for the Congress to say, in this, for you guys to decide not to appropriate another dime, to stand up as a body, the People's House, and say, we're not going to act like this as Americans. It's a 22-month-long investigation, 11 months by the FBI, followed by 11 months of the special counsel picking up on that. 22 months, nothing. What is it to be, an investigation in perpetuity, or shouldn't decent congressmen and women say enough?
Well, you're absolutely right, and there are many reasons to justify the ending of the Mueller probe. One, as you've pointed out, is the fact that it has existed for more than a year when you combine it with what the FBI has done, and has produced not a scintilla of evidence. Another reason is that the Mueller probe is so infected with bias. The people serving on his team defended the Clinton Foundation. Mr. Weissman, his chief deputy, actually went to Hillary Clinton's election night party. So a lot of reasons to end the probe, and I want to call Mueller in, and I want to hear what he's got. And if there's no evidence, let's wrap this up and move on with the business of the country, Lou.
Do you think your leadership would be so inclined?
They're getting there. I mean, look, we see movement with our leadership. The majority leader, Kevin McCarthy, the majority whip, Steve Scalise, all calling on the appointment of a second special counsel to look into the very investigators who are making these false claims. And so I think we're seeing movement in the leadership, and we could use a lot more.
Speaking of leadership, I've left about 20 seconds for you to react to Paul Ryan's resignation that apparently isn't immediate. He wants to hang around a while as a lame duck.
Well, Speaker Ryan has served for a number of years admirably here in the Congress, and I just wish the best for him and for his family. And as is typically the case for a vibrant democracy, we're going to have new blood in leadership, and I'm very excited about that as well.
Thank you very much, Congressman. Matt Gaetz, we appreciate it.
Thank you.